Castle is the perfect food to share with anybody you love or care about.
But I call them little pillows of happiness because that's what they are. They make me happy and they're my comfort food.
I feel like a king.
I accept this induction.
Can't even begin to express like how staggered I am.
Hope everyone can enjoy them for another 100+ years.
Welcome to the 2020 White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame Induction Celebration. Here's our host, White Castle's Vice President of Marketing, Jamie Richardson.
Welcome to the epicenter of all cravings, where we celebrate the 20th annual Cravers Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's going to be fun. We're going to cover a lot of ground, so get your crave on, friends. Here we go. In the beginning was the Crave, and the Crave has been going strong ever since. But you might be surprised to see just how long and strong that Crave has been going.
Throughout the scrolls of human history, the idea of the slider has been hidden in plain sight. Enlightened individuals and secret societies crossing cultural boundaries, civilizations, and ways of life saw glimpses of its one-day physical manifestation and coming glory of its euphoric taste sensation. But it wasn't until the early 1920s that a young man in Wichita, Kansas, unlocked this hidden secret.
Archaeological evidence suggests human habitation has existed on what is now modern-day Wichita for more than 3,000 years. Legend has it that one evening, while strolling along the Arkansas River, Billy Ingram discovered an ancient artifact. Later that night, he had a vision of what would later be known as the slider.
Actually, my great-grandfather, Billy Ingram, was a real estate broker and successful businessman in Wichita, Kansas.
Walt Anderson was a successful cook and was looking to expand his hamburger business when he asked Billy to represent him in a real estate deal.
Billy was impressed with his product and decided to partner with Walt to start a new business.
Billy Ingram wanted to improve the public's perception of ground beef.
He felt the need to create a clean and classy image.
So he used the word white to signify cleanliness, and castle to signify permanence and strength.
They called their new business the White Castle System of Eating Houses.
The Roaring '20s saw an explosion of American ingenuity and growth of the economy. To help encourage workers, it was rumored that close friends Henry Ford and Thomas Edison shared a love of White Castle and often provided good-for-5 slider coupons as employee incentives.
Billy wasn't afraid to try new things.
White Castle was the first restaurant to print paper coupons,
advertise in major newspapers, and even on radio.
To consolidate all their operations, Billy decided to move their headquarters to Columbus, Ohio in 1934.
As White Castle continued to grow and expand, their influence began to show up in popular culture. In 1930, artist Grant Wood originally planned to portray his American Gothic painting in front of a White Castle, but ultimately settled on a farmhouse.
Starting with the first restaurant they opened, Billy was a master marketer and promoter.
Selling them by the sack was to promote sales and to encourage the concept of carryout.
Our Crave cases today are just another variation of this original concept.
Crave case, yeah.
Over the years, our sliders have continued to lead the hamburger industry.
For example, we started adding cheese to our sliders in the early 60s.
We were the first to sell restaurant products in frozen retail,
which has been a huge success.
And most recently, we added the Impossible Slider to our lineup.
White Castle's influence has been felt beyond North America and has inspired cravers all over the world.
In 1953, when Queen Elizabeth II assumed the royal crown, what many people don't know is that Her Majesty whispered to my grandfather to contact White Castle and have sliders flown in. They were served on silver platters, and by all accounts, it totally made the party.
In recognition of its true importance in the food world, on January 14th, 2014, Time magazine named the White Castle slider as the most influential burger of all time. As White Castle enters the second century of its existence and the fifth generation of the family begins working for the company, one thing is for sure, White Castle will continue to feed the souls of Craver generations everywhere.
Hey, we had the chance to check in with our fourth generation family leader, our CEO and president, and more importantly, our slider queen, Lisa Ingram. Let's see what she has to say about the Cravers Hall of Fame. Lisa, the Cravers Hall of Fame celebration is here. Do you have any words you'd like to share with our inductees?
Yes, Jamie. As you know, one of the biggest celebrations that we look forward to is our annual Cravers Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And this year, although we aren't able to meet in person, it doesn't mean that we are not going to have a party. It's my honor as CEO of White Castle and my favorite title, Slider Queen, to officially welcome and congratulate this year's inductees. You all have demonstrated your willingness to go the extra lengths to satisfy our craving. And whether your most favored destination is one of our restaurants or your groceries freezer aisle, you are worthy of something many seek and few achieve. The White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame. In fact, we've done the math, and it's easier to get into Harvard than it is to get into the Cravers Hall of Fame. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. Thank you for being advocates of great taste, and congratulations on your induction.
So something else big happened earlier this year in Florida. Would you care to share what that was?
Yes. So in May of this year, we opened the world's largest castle in Orlando, Florida. And we were so excited about this opening, but obviously, just wondering, would they show up? Would they come? And we were so thrilled with how many customers showed up, how many cravers were there to tell our story, how long they waited in lines to get their sliders and to get that one-of-a-kind steam grilled taste. It was really a wonderful experience, and we made a lot of sliders, myself included.
The rumor's true that you worked the grill for a little bit.
Yes. So I love working the grill. It's my favorite position in the castle, and we made a lot of sliders back there, and it was a lot of fun this year because my dad was also back there, and he was helping box them up and make sure that our customers got really hot, tasty sliders.
How long were people willing to wait?
There were lines for 6 hours at one point, and so, which is just amazing to us that people love the brand so much and wanted to come and share their experience with us and welcome us to Orlando in such a wonderful way.
I know when we went to Scottsdale, people actually camped out overnight.
Yes.
Did that happen again?
Yes, there were lots of customers that camped out, that waited morning, noon, and night, and were just really, really happy to be there, happy to tell us their story, and happy to get their White Castle finally.
Are there other big fun things that have happened for White Castle here? It's a 100th birthday. I mean, anything else worth sharing?
So in 2021, we are excited to have our 100th birthday. My great-grandfather founded it in 1921, so we're 100 years young this year. We're so excited to be able to celebrate that with all of our team members and all of our customers. And this year we were recognized as a great place to work, which is something that we have been really excited about and working for many years. It's something that's always been part of our foundation and our values all the way back to my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather always said, happy team members make happy customers, and that is something that we have been very focused on and are really excited to be able to share that we were certified as a great place to work this year.
How many team members does White Castle have these days?
We have close to 10,000 team members across all of our castles, our plants, and in our home office.
A lot of people know White Castle for the restaurants. I mean, they grew up in Restaurant City, but also it sounds like the retail division's holding its own. Any new news on the retail division, expansion or anything like that?
Yeah, so our retail division has been a great addition to the company. We've been doing it for over 25 years. And this year, because of all of the demand for our retail product, we actually are doubling the size of our Vandalia plant. And we also renamed it to be the Bill, after a tribute to my father, who got us into the retail business. When everybody told him that he was crazy and that nobody would want to buy restaurant product in grocery store aisles, he was able to convince them that they were wrong, and we're very glad that he did.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Lisa, very much. We're at a really important part of tonight's celebration. We're going to get to meet our inductees. We know their extreme dedication to White Castle has brought them to this special moment in time. Our first inductee knows what it means to go the distance. He's a long distance runner, but he also knows what it means to take his cravings to their ultimate expression. Meet Thomas Perry.
It was probably 1965 when I had my first White Castle visit, and it was 1975 when I ran my first running race. It was not an uncommon sight to order multiple sliders for our family gatherings, as this was long before the crave cases became a popular way to order a larger quantity. It was in 2015 that I read an article on the CRAVERS Hall of Fame, and it was then that I knew I'd work on my goal of getting into the Hall of Fame for the 100th birthday party. I then made the decision in 2015 that while I continued working on my marathon states for the 50 State Marathon Club, that I would then begin working on hitting as many White Castles I had not visited in the various states. I have been to every known White Castle in Minnesota, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Wisconsin, and have been to multiple different White Castles in Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, New Jersey, and New York. I have now completed 230 different marathons, and I've been to over 100 different White Castles throughout the United States. Along the journey, I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer on July 30th, 2019. Since then, I've continued to run and do my marathons, and even the pandemic hasn't stopped me. I take comfort knowing that 2 of my favorite cravings, running and White Castle, are there for me. If and when the time comes when I can no longer run, I will take comfort in knowing that sliders will still offer me comfort when I need it. I hope to see you soon at a run or at a White Castle or even a marathon soon. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and enjoy life.
We know that often at the castle, love is in the air, especially on Valentine's Day or other special times, but it's also the place where love can flourish. With this chicken ring, I thee wed. That's what Laura Rayner said.
So I worked at White Castle for 4 years while going to college. And I have to confess that up until the very first time that I worked there, I've never tasted a White Castle burger. But once I did, I fell in love with them. A lot of people call them sliders, but I call them little pillows of happiness because that's what they are. They make me happy and they're my comfort food. But even more than that, I grew to love a guy that I met in physics class in college, and he would come every Saturday on his way to work. And every Saturday, make it 4 cheeseburgers, cheese Danish, and orange soda. After those 4 years, I guess he really liked the way I made his burgers because he proposed to me and I said yes. Now, the very first year that White Castle started to offer table service on Valentine's Day, my husband and I said, we're in. I mean, that is basically where it all started, sort of. So we made reservations, and we've been going every year, ever since 2006. Recently, we've been double dating with friends of ours, and we look forward to that tradition every year. I have so many good memories of White Castle. It's always going to hold a special place in my heart. Thank you, White Castle, for inducting me into the Hall of Fame along with such greats as Alice Cooper, Stan Lee, and of course, Harold and Kumar.
Our next inductee has been described with words like caveman. We think we might change that to craveman, pilgrim, and even architect. No stranger to bliss for the slider. He has risked divorce in the name of White Castle. This is something we don't recommend. Let's meet our friend, Robert Kolsch.
I've collected White Castle hamburger boxes for over 25 years. As far as I know, I have all of them, and collection keeps growing. These are a few of my favorites. This one here is very special to me. It's the box used to give free meals to veterans on Veterans Day. So it's got a nice little American flag design, beautiful box, beautiful service to those who serve the country. This one is very special. This is the original 1931 first edition White Castle slider box. For White Castle box collectors, this would be considered the Holy Grail. Having this is equivalent to having a Billy Ingram rookie card. It's very hard to get, it's rare, it's special. This one is from the late 30s, and it's the first box to use the symmetrical castle design. Finally, last one I want to recognize is the 100th birthday box. These just came out. There'll be probably over 200 different ones because they honor each of the Hall of Fame members by their full name and give their story. I accept this induction proudly, with honor. I am just thrilled to be entered into the White Castle Hall of Fame. Thank you.
We all know breakfast is called the most important meal of the day. Well, our friend Russ knows exactly what that's all about. Wait till you hear what his typical order is.
Now, I've been lucky my whole life, and I've never had to live more than 5 miles away from White Castle, so I've never had to make those epic journeys. But they have been truly a big part of my life. The first restaurant that I've ever ordered at, I was 6 years old. I had my $1 from my allowance, and it was the first restaurant I ever went to as a child, ordering 3 cheeseburgers, an order of fries, and a Coke for my $1 allowance for that week. And it was just such a great experience ordering without any adults around. We were a bunch of 6-year-olds walking around. You could do that in my day. You also, in the 70s, it was dinner and dates with my wife. We would go to the drive-in, pick up a sack of sliders, and share sliders and watch movies at the drive-in theaters. It was always great. We had 40th birthday parties where we rented limousines and went through the White Castle drive-thru. And then we also had, when I grew up in the corporate world, we had a Friday morning breakfast plan where everybody brought something for breakfast. Everyone was bringing cakes and donuts and fruit and things like that. And one day I decided, well, I'm going to change that up, and brought 2 Crave cases of White Castles. They were gone in minutes. And now we have a granddaughter, and the first word she knew how to speak, well, we'd say, oh, where do you want to go for lunch? She'd go, let's go to the castle. So it was really, really a lot of fun. It's been a great trip. I want to thank you to all of White Castle. This is truly an honor, and long live sliders.
We know the castle's open 24/7, but when we get to the end of the week, that's special for all of us. Michael Heiser knows exactly about that and sharing some sliders with family and friends. All the way from El Paso, Texas, welcome Michael.
It's actually hard to believe that there was a time before I knew about White Castle. Those who were aware of my love of the company likely thought that I crawled from the crib to my nearest White Castle restaurant. But in actuality, I have to thank my father for introducing me to the amazing taste of White Castle over 35 years ago. Now, over the last 35 years, White Castle has been much more than a restaurant for me. In actuality, it has been a frequent source of comfort and happiness. It's been a required first stop for, visiting family. It's the first place I always would go when I'd get off the airplane. And it's been a taste of normalcy during times of stress and sickness. I'm always going to remember my 3-hour White Castle road trips with college friends, celebrating the end of my cancer treatment with the Crave case, convincing my grandmother somehow to make White Castle stuffing from a recipe I found online at Thanksgiving, and excitedly introducing my coworkers to White Castle in Las Vegas. Now, I would have never achieved such a prestigious honor as this without the support of my family and friends, and I'd like to thank each and every one of them for encouraging me and supporting my White Castle addiction. Over the next 40, 50 years that I'm on this earth, look forward to enjoying thousands of additional White Castles, and hope everyone can enjoy them for another 100+ years.
Our next Craver, Richard, has been a loyal fan for over 75 years, and whether it's morning, noon, or night, he's coming to the castle to satisfy his craves. Next up, Richard from the Villages in Florida.
It started probably back in 1947. I was about 12 years old. I remember my mom and dad used to cut the coupon out of the Sunday paper, and one of my older brothers would take and drive up to White Castle on Northern Boulevard, 88th Street in Jackson Heights, and bring home a couple of sacks of White Castle for the family to enjoy. That went on for a couple of years until I turned 18, and I became the gopher. And I was going up there, whenever the coupons were in the paper, they'd send me up there and I'd bring them home. And I started dating my beautiful wife over here. We ended just about every date at White Castle. We used to drive up there for coffee and like that. And at the time, they were all car house. And they'd come running over to the car, especially Tex. Tex would come over and say, "Curb service, sir, curb service." Come the time, we told Rose and them that we were getting married. After the ceremony in church, we took the whole bridal party, myself, my bride, best man, maid of honor, ushers, bridesmaids, went to White Castle. We pulled in, instead of doing the curb service, we all went inside and sat at the counter. And Rose went inside and she took our picture there. And we just continued enjoying the White Castle through the years. We retired in 2000 and moved down here to Florida. Down here, we get some of the supermarket ones, and the only time we get fresh White Castle is when we drive up to New York to see the family, and we feast on them up there. The memories are wonderful. It's just so amazing, and I feel like a king.
We have come across some pretty interesting footage. It's actually from a TV show called Behind the Scenes. Let's see what happens when they came behind the castle walls.
This week, we go behind the scenes at legendary White Castle to explore how someone gets chosen to be inducted into the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame.
I want to be in the Cravers Hall of Fame.
I want to be in the Cravers Hall of Fame.
We want to be in the Cravers Hall of Fame.
Let's go inside the White Castle headquarters building and discover what it takes to be a member of the most exclusive club in the world. You'll only see it here on Behind the Scenes.
Welcome to White Castle.
White Castle, known for those craveable sliders that are available 24 hours a day and in the freezer section of your grocer, have been satisfying cravers for more than 100 years. These sliders are so popular, White Castle has created a Cravers Hall of Fame to recognize those special people that have taken their crave to the next level. What does it take to get into the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame? Well, we are about to find out. In a small room, behind an undisclosed door, a group of White Castle staff sift through thousands of applications to determine who has what it takes to be inducted into the Cravers Hall of Fame.
Wow, I can't believe how many Cravers Hall of Fame applications we're getting. Look guys, look who applied again this year. Sorry Ronald, you'll never get in the Hall of Fame.
Remember when we inducted Alice Cooper into the Cravers Hall of Fame? Alice was a perfect candidate. He took his White Castle craving to a whole nother level. Just look at him on his slider throne.
Trying to determine only those most qualified to be in the Cravers Hall of Fame is a daunting task. Lucky for White Castle, they have Professor Chip Onion leading the decision team. Known as Professor O, Professor Onion was formerly the lead scientist at the Institute of Uncontrollable Crave Conditions. Welcome, Professor Onion, to Behind the Scenes.
Well, people call me Professor O.
Why do people call you Professor O?
Simple. It stands for, oh, I love White Castle sliders.
Okay, Professor O. Now, please tell us, how does someone get into the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame?
Well, first off, it's not easy. We receive boxes full of applications each year. We enjoy reading each application and learning how White Castle is such a big part of each person's life. But it takes more than just loving sliders to get into the Cravers Hall of Fame. We are looking for those individuals that have taken their crave for White Castle to the next level. Let me see what kind of craver you are.
Well, hey, what? Okay.
You crave a White Castle double cheeseburger slider with ketchup and fries. And a Coke. No. A Diet Coke. And for dessert, cheesecake on a stick.
That's amazing. How did you know what I crave? How'd you do that?
That's why they call me Professor O, which stands for, oh, I love White Castle cheeseburger sliders.
Professor L, we have a situation.
Oh, what is it?
One of our finalists has picked up 6 Crave cases and is heading to a Little League field to give them out to the players.
This is fantastic. This may propel them into the Craver Hall of Fame. Listen, give me the address of that Little League game. Everybody, we're moving on to Crave Level 5. This interview's over. We got work to do.
Sorry, we're gonna have to cut this short. You gotta go. Thanks. We'll reschedule. This is gonna get intense.
Well, there you have it. A behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to be in the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame. Please join us next week as we go behind the scenes at Progressive Insurance to see if Flo is really as nice as she appears on TV.
Our next inductee has one word for White Castle. He calls it home. Next up, Daniel Mann.
I think food is a very important gateway into the soul, and White Castle is the perfect food to share with anybody you love or care about because it comes in small little sliders that you could just give to anybody. When I was growing up, there was a couple of White Castles in my area, and my grandmother would always get it, and it was just like an automatic thing, like, oh, we're gonna have White Castle. So I was always super excited to have it. My senior year of high school, me and 3 of my friends created what we called Castle Gang, which was just the 4 of us, and every single weekend we would get a Crave case of White Castle, and then we'd hang out at one of our houses, and we would just absolutely demolish it. And then we'd just do it all again every single week. We even did it for prom. You know, we spent so much time, like it was literally every weekend eating White Castle, so we thought we should like make some merch for it, just for the 4 of us, just like, oh, you know, we need like some sort of like shirt, just because it's cool. So I think, you know, as I go on with my life, I'm gonna try and stay on the Eastern Seaboard, try and stay near a White Castle, because I love the food. I think I want to impart that upon my children, not that I should be thinking about them at the moment, but you know, in the future, it'd be cool to share that with them, just like my grandma did with me.
You don't need to subscribe to a fancy genealogy website to know that cravings are hereditary. Barbara Small knows, with 3 generations of Cravers in her home. Let's go to Clarksville, Maryland.
Years of loving a brand, years of bringing those sliders into our home, years of showing everyone in his life that they just hadn't lived a complete life until they had tried a White Castle slider, and it all led to this moment.
I go back to my mom and dad who exposed me to Castles back as an early kid in the south side of Chicago. It's actually my first memory of a family activity. So the fact that my daughter and her son were able to carry on that tradition is just wonderful.
My father is a wonderful papa to my 3 kids, but what makes him beyond special is that he takes something he loves, in this case, White Castle sliders, and brings that into his relationship with his grandson, Sean.
Some of my earliest memories are when my papa and I would sneak out of the house to grab a suitcase of sliders. My papa and I have had many adventures over the years, but every adventure included a stop at our local White Castle restaurant. Year after year, my papa and I built slider box towers, and those towers have grown larger and larger by the foot.
Luckily, my relationship with my father is a blessing. I'm basically a mini version of him. What we decided for my wedding was that at midnight, what do we have, 8 servers with 8 silver platters came out with about 400 sliders, and the place went wild.
Yeah, crazy.
And people are still, to this day, still talking about White Castle sliders on silver platters at our wedding.
Thank you for recognizing the generations of White Castle slider lovers that make up our family.
We've all heard of random acts of kindness. This next inductee exemplifies a random act of craveness. A good Samaritan, our good friend, Richard Sodransky from Roanoke, Virginia.
Well, I love White Castle hamburgers. They taste differently. And the more steamy and soggy it is, then it's just better that way. My brother Charles, around 1946, the year I was born, was the first customer in the White Castle hamburger restaurant on 38th Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. and he's written up in the White Castle Archives magazine somewhere. So this one particular time, I was traveling from Chicago back to Clifton Forge on the Cardinal, and that goes through Indianapolis, Indiana. And I happened to be eating dinner on the Cardinal with two sisters, and they were from Indiana, close to Indianapolis, and I'm telling them how I loved White Castle hamburgers. And so the one girl says, well, I'll call my husband, I'll have him go to the White Castle restaurant in Union Station, Indianapolis, and he can get you a Crave case. So he did. I paid her $20, and the train comes into Indianapolis in the middle of the night, and I hopped off, and I get about halfway down the platform, and there's her husband with the Crave case. So we stayed on the platform and visited for, I don't know what, 40 minutes or something before the train left, and I made sure the conductor got, a hamburger or two. It was fun. It was just marvelous.
Once a year, every year, White Castle turns into Love Castle on Valentine's Day. There's a reason we take reservations with no reservations, because we get to meet great friends like Lisa Pluto from Southfield, Michigan. Let's hear her story.
My mom was unique and loved by everybody, and White Castle was always special to her and myself. We started out probably 30, 40 years ago eating it when it was just at 8 Mile and Woodward, where they would stop and bring us home White Castle at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and it was just like a midnight snack, and all the other neighbors were envious because that's what we had, and they didn't drive that far to get them. We started this tradition back in 2011 on Valentine's Day when my 16-year-old niece got her driver's license, not knowing that you had to make reservations, and because we were such frequent customers, they let us in early at 4:30. And ever since then, we made reservations and we continued to go. My mom was actually on Channel 2 News in 2017. They interviewed her and I, and even the news lady had a laugh at my mom because my mom said, "Oh, I really think it's funny that people knock on the door and they can't get in. They just don't know how great this is." My mom passed away in 2019, and after she passed away, my family and friends continued the tradition with me. In 2020, we had 25 people. In 2021, even with COVID, I had 23 people, all sitting in cars, paying tribute to my mom. It keeps growing and growing, and I hope one day to take over the complete restaurant for more than just, the half hour, the 45 minutes that's need be that they allow.
In 2004, Matthew Peck started his service in the United States Air Force. We are so thankful for all the brave men and women who serve in uniform to keep us safe every day. But Matthew's service didn't end there. His devotion to the Crave is also unequaled, including a late night adventure that led him to a grocery store freezer aisle and his first encounter with the castle via his microwave.
I joined the military and I started to travel, and sure enough, it was right around the time that Harold and Kumar came out, and a buddy of mine and I were like, well, it says that they sell frozen White Castle hamburgers. So we kind of went on this quest to find frozen White Castle hamburgers, and this was back in 2004. So we probably drove around hitting every 24-hour grocery store for about 4 or 5 hours, and we finally found them, and we went back and we made them, and we're like, well, these are awesome. And, I kept reading up on the history of Billy and Walt, and it just kind of captivated me, and I wanted to know more, and I was like, well, now I got to go get a real White Castle. Like, how am I going to do that? And so I was actually up in New York on temporary duty, and it was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking online, and I was like, well, there's a White Castle here. So I started going for a walk, and I walked into that White Castle 2 o'clock in the morning, and they were so nice, and they're like, what can we get you? And I had my first slider in person, and it was just, it was a religious event. And so from there, it kind of spiraled. They actually opened a White Castle about 2 hours from where my parents now live in Pennsylvania. And so anytime we're up there, I drag my wife. And this past time, I dragged my kids up there, and I was like, hey, we're going to go get White Castle. And it's just amazing. I can't even begin to express how staggered I am that here I am being honored with this, and just how awesome it is and how appreciative I am for the company and everything that they've done.
Our next inductee is someone you might recognize, probably because you've seen him in your living room, on your TV. He's a culinary expert. He's no stranger to good taste. Welcome to the Cravers Hall of Fame, Adam Richman.
Going to White Castle as a kid in Brooklyn was always something incredibly special. It was something that wasn't necessarily near my house, but my father, may he rest in peace, loved them. I still love them. My mother loves them. And I remember my mom sharing memories from her childhood where my grandfather would take her and her siblings to White Castle. It became this special occasion, and I think that speaks to the quality of White Castle. It speaks to the uniqueness of the flavor, of the experience, of the visual representation of the dishes, of the visual impact of the building itself. And I think for me, it's a very rare thing in this life when something you love shows you love back, something that has been part of your history allows you to be part of theirs, to be part of that mythology and to be part of something so much larger than myself is just, it's a really big honor, and I take it as such. And I thank everyone at White Castle for deeming me worthy. I congratulate them on this milestone of the century, the century mark, and I just wish them hundreds of years more, and I hope everyone gets a chance to sample the deliciousness and to get a chance to see how hard so many people work to make it look easy.
The moment has come and the time is now. It is time to induct this incredible class of Cravers. Normally, we would be able to do this together. Tonight, we're going to set history in a different way because we're going to do it virtually. Say hello to the 2020 class, Cravers Hall of Fame. One thing we know about the castle, my friends, many are called and few are chosen. This group has come from far and wide. They've demonstrated a lifetime of devotion to that thing we call the Crave. It is easier to get into Harvard than it is the Cravers Hall of Fame. Today we celebrate because today, my friends, welcome to the Cravers Hall of Fame. What an incredible evening. What an incredible class of Cravers Hall of Famers. They've come from far and wide. Tonight they are celebrated and they are now among the immortals. If you'd like to join us, check it out. Go to whitecastle.com. Send us your story because we'd like to welcome you to the Cravers Hall of Fame as well. Remember, many are called and few are chosen. Crave on and long live sliders, my friends.